7, 6, 7, 6, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7.
What are we gonna do with the kids? There's about 6-7 pillagers knocking on the door. I refuse to leave them here. We have to. There's no other choice. We have to figure something out because we have to. Well, there's nothing we can do. Hate, the feeling of intense or passionate dislike. Like when someone shares the same passion and emotion on the topic as you do, but expresses it in the most annoying way possible. I seriously wish we could put a mute on people like this. Everyone judges. Everyone hates. It's a part of what makes us human. But sometimes people don't actually understand why they hate, and they let their misguided feelings dictate their behavior in various ways. This video is going to use Minecraft to help visualize this concept. I want what I'm about to say to make as much sense as I can. So to tell this story, I'm going to create a timeline of events to make my point as cohesive as the 0.67 TikTok attention span can process. But right now, we're in the present. Villagers and pillagers have been two separate factions that disagree for the longest time. This is something that we know. It's evident from all the interactions that we get between the two groups in the game. But for them to be so far apart in the present, they have to have once been unified. We don't know why they split. Maybe a pillager made too many 6-7 jokes and got rightfully executed. But there is solid evidence that points that they were once together, like how pillagers don't target baby villagers, which suggests that they're at least the same species. Not like early hominids that thought that genocide was the easiest answer to stick inflation. Different species don't care if you've graduated kindergarten when they're looking for a victim. I know you've seen those videos on Instagram Reels of newborn animals being in spawn camps. This tells us that the relationship between the pillagers and villagers isn't primal, it's political. Hate isn't something that's formed instinctively. It's often a taught and learned behavior that's reinforced. So, at one point in time, villagers and pillagers lived together as a collective. We can call this group Villager Prime. Don't judge my naming skills, but how did we go from Villager Prime to the divided houses of modern day pillagers and villagers, each down each other's throats in respective ways? Well, the cause of pillagers making the decision to leave villager society, or being exiled as most commonly believed, can most likely be pointed back to a singular inciting incident. The specificity of this incident isn't that important in particular, but to spare the 6-7 jokes, I'm going to say that the incident was something else, something more. Let's say a group of pillagers got caught experimenting on a villager. Not in the Freaky Grox video way, but like sciencey and unethical, like a moral gray area. We know that the pillagers do a lot of experimentation. They created the Totems of Undying, and in the Woodland Mansions we can find these weird ritualistic structures of different things like cats. So this idea that pillagers have been doing weird experiments isn't far-fetched. Law enforcement and villager communities could have seen this as the last straw, and everyone with gray skin would have been kicked out of villager societies, leading them to create their own faction and becoming the pillagers we know today. But why is this important, you may be thinking? What does this have to do with hate and 6-7? You see, this inciting incident is the birth of hate. Now both pillagers and villagers have an excuse to undermine, fear, and even kill the other side. Pillagers could have faced hardships after being kicked from villager society, maybe struggling to survive a nomadic lifestyle before they built the Woodland Mansions. Generational trauma forms on both sides, and willful ignorance forms. Have you ever heard your parents say something that you know would get them canceled online? You know whether or not they're actually a problematic person, but you understand why what they're saying would piss certain groups of people off. I've heard my relatives say some questionable things, and I'm not saying I'm 100% on board with their opinions, but when you know the life that they live and understand why they think what they think, you'll know that they're not actually a problematic person. Unless they're actually just crazy, but like, people form beliefs based off of circumstance. Let's take the black pill for example. Black pill is the belief that the only thing that matters is your physical appearance. The same way that you see a nitwit villager and assume that it's useless. Black pill believers essentially think that if you're not the most attractive person in the room, then you're hopeless. I've personally felt ugly my entire life. And when something like the black pill pops up, and it seems like there's perfect explanation for why people treat you the way that they do, it's easy to become willfully ignorant. Willful ignorance is when the person chooses to only believe concepts that their mind is already comfortable with. You could even be right to an extent, but the second something challenges that reality that you've already built, your mind finds a way to justify your own beliefs and put it on top. Villagers in Minecraft are low-key racist. If you strip a pillager of its crossbow, for some reason it seems to lose all its malicious intent. They no longer chase you or villagers, but villagers will still shit their pants when they see a weaponless, defenseless pillager. It's not completely unreasonable, and from the perspective that we've gotten, it's fair for villagers to feel this way, but by definition, villagers are racist. If we take our theory that all pillagers were banned from Villager Prime Society as a result of their weird experiments, then from the perspective of villagers, yeah, That's a pretty creepy and reasonable reason to be afraid of pillagers. But do you really think every pillager that lived in Villager Prime society was in that basement? Of course not, but that's how hate works. One incident becomes a story. That story becomes the rule. And that rule becomes a belief that nobody bothers to question. Villagers grow up learning that pillagers are monsters, and pillagers grow up believing that villagers betrayed them. Minecraft accidentally shows us something real. Hate doesn't need the truth, it just needs time. And unless someone breaks the cycle, hate outlives the people who felt it first. This video is to show you how hate forms, how it spreads, how it thrives. I hope you understood the message I was trying to bring from this video, and I hope you have a blessed day.